Friend, I'm glad you are watching again. I am glad to see you here. I am glad to know that you are always interested in hearing from us every week. And I am glad to tell you that I am here again. I am here to share a very important, vital information that relates to our marriage and relates to relationship. And I know it will bless you. I know it will help you. I know that if you are the head to it, and follow the necessary instructions and do the needful, I pray and I believe that that marriage or that relationship will never be a marriage or a relationship of stress, of pressure, of fire, but of peace in the name of Jesus. I welcome you once again. I remain Jessil Onyeronwu, your favorite host, Marriage Lesson 316, powered by Marriage Discovery International Network. Today, I want to share some important things as a result of my research, as a result of my findings. Why there so much increase in divorce these days? It has been giving me a hell of pressure. So I decided to do some research and do some findings. There has never been a time in history. There has never been a time in history that the institution of marriage is without challenges, is without pressures, is without stress. There has never been any time. But if you discover with me in this 21st century, 19th century and 21st century, till 21st century, you will know there is so much increase in knowledge. There is so much availability of information. There is so much availability, whether spiritual, whether mental, emotionally, physical, and academical wise. There's so much information. Then it is expected, or rather, it should have been expected that the marriage of our fathers, that the marriage of the ancients should have more pressures, should have more stress, should have more challenges, more trouble than our own. Why? Because with the information available, with the knowledge available, what are we doing with it? Why are there still so much trouble? Why are there still so much divorce? Why are there still so much marriage, domestic abuse and violence in marriage? Why are there such things? It is due to some certain factors, some certain knowledge, some certain things that have been neglected. And I want to share with us at this moment the factors that are influencing divorce in the 21st century. And number one of them is the loss of the family. The loss of the family's support. The loss of the family support. The loss of the family support. I have often said, and I know, marriage is not the business of the young girl and the young boy that saw each other and decide to get together. No, marriage is a business, is a family affair. Marriage is an extension and expansion of two individual families. That is what marriage is all about. But oftentimes, why are there loss of support from extended families in marriage? Why is it that some of the problem, some of the weight, some of the challenges that happens to our fathers and their extended family rally around to give them support and to help them to bear it? Why is it that such things are happening today and the only solution we have a divorce? Why is it so? It is because that family support system of the extended family has been lost, and it is due to ignorance on the part of some of our young men. You want to go into something that has to do with a lifetime. Some people want to get married, their family is not aware what they're doing. Some want to get married, the community is not aware what they're doing. Some want to get married, they call their pastor a bluff, they call their parents a bluff, they don't care, they don't go through the due process. Don't you know that there are things you may never see in marriage that your parents will see? There are things you never see in marriage that one of the members of the extended family will see. Why? Why is it that today we tend to get married? You get married without asking questions, without getting your family involved. And when the problem comes, nobody is there to shoulder it for you. I remember my late mother telling me that when they got married initially, she got married to my mother very young, so naive. And most time when they had quarrel, she will not run back because they are from the same place. She will not run back to the mother. He said the mother will sat her down, keep her for a day or two. During that day or two, the mother is talking to her. The mother is educating her. The mother is telling her, this is what marriage is all about. And this is how you have to go about it. After a day or two, the mother will bring her back until you get to the point that she is so mature that she don't go anywhere. Once there is issue, they sort it out. The one they cannot sort out, they now invite the extended family member to help them. But today, that system has been lost. That system has been lost. Where you are living with a woman that you don't pay the bride price. When there is a problem, who will you call? Where you are living with a woman that you don't even know where he come from or she come from. There was this our friend that died this year, a young man. The burial of that young man was conducted by well-wishers and friends. He got married, has a kid, but by the time he died, the family said they are not aware that he's married. The family said for years they have not seen him. He has nothing to do with. They don't know anything about him. That why is it now? It is the corpse that they will now bring to them. When he was alive, he doesn't associate. He neglected the family. He ran far from the family to the point he got married. The family does not know that he's married. He had a child, first one, second one. They don't know that he has a child until the young man died. And some of us will jump into conclusion to blame the family. You don't blame. There's one of my father in the Lord and one of my reverend. He used to say, I don't want to be a man that owns people in debt. If I cannot own you while you are alive, then you should not be in debt that I should own you. So family, marriage is a family thing. If you are listening to me, you want to go into marriage, please make sure you carry your family along. A young man asked me a question which I'm here to reply. He says, sir, please, I want you to tell me the procedure of our marriage. He's a member of my church. If you want to get married as a young man, as a young lady in our church, as a family, how do we go about it? There are rules. There are steps. Those steps are not to discourage you. Those steps are to encourage you. There are steps. There is no family. In this family I'm talking about, it's not just only your biological. Your biological is so much important. There is a blessing that no bishop, no reverend can give you. That is your mother, is your father that should give you. If you neglect them, sorry will be your name. There is. So don't neglect your parents because you want to get married. Don't neglect some certain traditions of your land that are not destructive to your life, to your faith, and to your marriage. When you have problem, okay, look at the scripture in the book of Exodus. Moses ran away from Egypt and he got to the land of Midian, where he was accepted. That was where he got married. He had children before the Lord asked him to go back to Egypt. By the time he went to Egypt, he went back the first time with the children. But when the terrain, when the heat, when the situation was so hard, was so hot for him, and he sees that this environment is so hostile for my wife and my children, he sent back. He sent back the wife and the children. Where did he send them? He sent them back to their father. That's the father-in-law, his father-in-law. And until they got to the wilderness, when the Lord has delivered them and they have settled down, that was when the father-in-law brought the family to him. And the question is, supposing he burnt the bridge in the name of marriage, What eyes, what sense, what relationship will he have to now send the wife and the children back to their mother's family, because that is the only way they can be saved? Please, I want you to know, families used to help marriage survive in the tough time, but now they are often not around. Why? Because most of us who are going into marriage, we have disrespected and we have sidelined them. So when there is a problem, they will not come. If you have broken the bridge between you and your family in the name of marriage, even if you feel that your marriage, you are having peace now, I want you to make amends. Nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow. The scripture says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. It said 2 is better than 1. 4 said, he said, they have a good reward for their labor. Verse 10 said, for if they fall, one will lift up the fellow, but woe unto him that is alone when he falleth, for he had none other to help him. Verse 11 said, if two lie together, they have good heat, but how can one be warm alone? Verse 12, he said, if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. A threefold cord. This place is not just talking about the unity between the husband and the wife. This place is also talking about the unity between you and your family, your biological family, your spiritual family, which is your faith family. Make sure you maintain this unity. If you can do that, and if we can do that, there are some certain problems that have broken marriages today that wouldn't have broken marriage, but because the loss of the support system from the extended family has been broken down. Number 2, things that are causing today, some things that are causing so much divorce, influencing divorce in marriage, is more focus on self and personal happiness. More focus on self-centeredness. Me. I was taught during my wedding, when I was to give vote of thanks, my AC quickly instructed me and give me a refreshment course. What was the refreshment course? As you pick the mic to say, I'm grateful for what you have done. Thank you all for coming. Said on behalf of my wife, or say my wife and I. He said that is how. Now you know, you don't say me, no be you. Me and my wife. But when you enter marriage and you are still so much focused on yourself, your personal happiness, you don't care the happiness of your husband, you don't care the happiness of your wife. It is me. When couples focus so much on personal happiness and doing what is the best for themselves, rather than walking through challenges together in marriage, it is error. In the past, marriage were about sacrifice and sticking together. No matter what, they stick together. They stick together. They have this slogan that what cannot defeat one should not, what can not defeat all should not defeat one. What cannot sink all should not sink one. Why? Because they support each other. But that today we are so much consumed with self and personal happiness, selfishness. That is all our focus. I want to be happy. I don't care whether my husband is happy. I don't care whether my wife is happy. All I do is to make myself happy. You see some husband, each time you see them, they are well dressed, they appear good, looking good. Then when you see their wife, it will shock you. You see some wife, every time they appear like Queen Elizabeth in appearance and dressing. But when you see their husband, you will be shocked. Where there is self-focus, personal happiness, that will not help the marriage alone. The biggest problem in marriage today is people thinking about themselves too much. That is the statement of Timothy Keller, an author. He said people thinking about themselves too much. Don't just think about yourself, think about others. That is the instruction of Philippians chapter 2 verse 4. Don't just think about yourself, think about others. When you enter marriage, in future I will be sharing with us the responsibility that married life places on you. One of that responsibility is that your duty is to take care of your partner. Put your partner's need first before your own. If we can deal with it. Another problems, another challenges is too much emphasis on romantic love. Too much emphasis on romantic love. What do I mean? Love is not just feeling. Falling in love is not enough, but real love grows deeper over time. Gary Thomas. Gary Thomas said, falling in love is not enough, but real love grows deeper over time. Over time. Many modern marriages today start with high expectations of romance and constant happiness. But when those feelings, when those good pimples fades away, couples begin to struggle, even considering divorce. But in the past, it was seen as more of a lifelong partnership, not just about feeling. Not just about feeling. It is important. When the Bible said in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 25, it said, husband, love your wife like Christ loved the church by sacrificing for them. Love is sacrificial. Love is sacrificial. Love is sacrificial. I watched a movie where the young man was dating a lady before he now met another lady. He was dating a lady who feels she's world class, she's beautiful, she's educated, she's a graduate, and she comes from a good home, a wealthy home rather. And when this young man met another lady that is not from a wealthy home, but well-groomed, well-tutored, and has something upstairs more than the other one, and I decided to ask the one he has been dating, he said, what is your plan? He said, my plan is that I'm just waiting for the day you will come and see my people and make me your wife. He said, that is not what I'm saying. What is your plan? The lady repeated the same thing. And I asked the lady that outside me, what is your plan? Outside me. He said, I don't have any plan. I'm just waiting for you now to come and meet my people, marry me, make me your wife. You don't have plan to work. He said, I don't have to work. How can I work when I'm married to a rich man? I will just sit down, eat, take care of myself, buy what I want, go shopping. The guy looks at him and said, wash, this is not a wife. And that was what ended that relationship. Romantic, there are so many unrealistic expectations, especially some of our women, among our women, with this so much addicted to soap operas, Telemundi, what are the rest of them? All this so much romantic loves. If according to Dr. Kingsley Okonkwo, he said in those movies, they don't tell them that they pay bills. They always have credit to call anytime they want to call. That place they give flower. But he said if an African man is buying you flower when he's coming from work, he's buying you ogo vegetable. And what he's telling you, get to the kitchen and cook this for me to eat. So we have this so much and it is not helping our marriage life. Please, I want us to correct it. This too much emphasis on romantic love. Love is not feeling. Love is an action. Number 4, not enough skills to handle conflict. Not enough skill. Paul was talking to Timothy, and one of his letters, he said to Timothy, he said, let the older women tutor, take care, teach the younger women in marriage. According to my study as a guidance and counseling student of Ekiti State University, we have discovered in Education 103, that's the course, Education 103, we discovered that even before the introductions or before the colonial masters came in, there have been a traditional form of education. And those traditional form of education is what we normally call things like test by moonlight. Each time you see the teaching or the tutoring or the skill acquisition is being done through our parents, is being done through the elders, is being done by the community heads in the villages. We may not have We may not be literate, but we have a pattern that we use. Now, and there are also people in the ancient time that they are taught, like the one I told you, that when my mother was alive, each time he has a quarrel with my father, if we ran back home, being that he's young and naive, he ran back home. But the mom will sat her down for 1 or 2 days and teach her what to do, how to react, and what to say. That are skills. Not many of our modern marriages, not many of our modern young men have enough skill on how to manage conflict, on how to have your two people are fire, or two people, one is fire, one is fuel. And when this one is talking, the other person is talking. This one is firing, the other person is also firing. What do you think will happen? The house will catch fire. But there are 3 levels. There are 3 levels, or 3 processes, or 3 forms of conflict management. One of them is, there may be more, but one of them is compromise, one of them is avoidance, one of them is confrontations. If you use confrontation where you ought to compromise, there will be a problem. And if you use compromise where you used to use avoidance, there will be a problem. And these are the things. Many couples today don't know how to handle disagreement and fight in a healthy way. There are fights that happens in a healthy way. There is one movie or one clip I keep seeing in TikToks, and I love it so much. The man enters and was breathing fire and brimstone against the wife, and shouting and shouting and shouting, and suddenly was fuming with anger. The wife walked close to the husband. What did he do? And grab his lips and kiss him. Remove it and kiss him. Remove it and kiss him. And the man became like cold water. That was the end of that battle. When the man was fuming and the woman was also fuming, there will be so much problem. It is important for you to know. You may not need to go to university to go and study conflict management. There are books, there are courses, make yourself available to seminars. Make yourself available to other couples. They will teach you how to handle, what do they call it? Handle conflicts. As a result of this mismanagement, so many homes are broken up. In the past, older family members and church leaders would help couples work through their problems. Now, couples often deal with issues on their own. And what do they know? It is what they know that they are going to give. Listen to what John, an author, Dr. John Gottman, said. Without good advice, marriage today struggle more with conflict and argument. Without good advice, who will give that good advice? Except you make yourself available. The book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 22. It says, plans fail without good advice, but with guidance, they succeed. Lastly, what are the 15 that are influencing divorce in our time? Economic pressures and changing roles. Economic pressures and changing roles. Before, I noticed that even while I was growing up as a young boy in the village, there was a time that it is the duty of the fathers to go out and work while the mothers take care of the home front, basically. But the time have changed. That today, in so many homes, the husband is working, the wife is working. Even in some home, the wife is the one working as a result of economic hardship. The man is still out of job. Now, this role changes also has its own effect on marriage. But they are not necessarily bad, but they are bad or crippling marriage because these couples, some certain couples lack the understanding of how to adjust to the changing roles that they are facing in the society. Another thing is this economic hardship. Economic hardship. Economic hardship is not only peculiar to where you are watching me from. The world is facing economic hardship. And even in the time past, they have faced it, but they have been able to manage it. Both men and women often have to work outside the home, which can create stress in marriage Balancing work, home responsibility, and financial pressures can make marriage harder than now than in the past. Now you need to manage. When a man before, in the ancient, when a man is going home, you know that the wife will surely be home. You know that his food would have been ready because the wife know when the husband will be coming. But you are going home, except you have a cook, except you have a maid, except your children are already grown. You are going home. Even you that are leaving your office by 4, your wife is still in her own office. Then is it your wife you're expecting now that will be at home to provide for you? You see it. And if you don't adjust, if you don't come to term and understanding, you will see that this thing will constantly creating a disagreement, keep bringing pressures. When the salary of 2 persons is not enough, imagine if it's 1 man. So many wives are working in order to aid their husband. Why so many husbands also, as a result of certain unforeseen circumstances, has lost their job and lost their business? And the wife is the one bringing the money. If you don't adjust, if you don't come to understanding to yourself, if you are the man in that situation, there are some certain things you must tolerate. There are some certain things you must compromise. If you don't do that, I tell you, there are going to be so much problem. Balancing your work life, balancing your home life creates more stress for modern couple than it did in the past. The love of money is the root of all evil. That is 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. Let me explain it this way. When you put the aim of making money, of being rich, of getting everything your heart desire, if you put it in front than the peace and the unity and the comfort of your wife or your husband, that will bring pressure to you. So I want you to know that marriage that is heading to divorce, even the one that is already divorced, I want you to know that it can be remedied. But if it must be remedied, we must go back to build this system. Number 1 system, we must go back to build. Number 1, let's build family system and restore the peace of the family, both the extended and biological. And also, let's go back to know that marriage is not for self or personal happiness. It is for the happiness of you and your partner. Let's also know that it is important that there are some certain expectations, romantic expectations, that are not real. There are some things you watch, there are fictions you watch in television, they are not real. When you get to marriage, you will see the reality. Also know that there are ways to handle conflict. Bible says a soft answer doeth good like a medicine. When your husband is talking in anger, it's not the time to respond in anger. When your wife is talking in anger, it's not the time to respond in anger. Also know, as a man, don't say I am the head, I'm always right. No, that head, I'm the head, talks of leadership role. And finally, whether you like it or not, the economy, situations of a nation, of people, has a lot to do in that. And that economic hardship we're having today is bringing a lot of road changes and bringing a lot of pressure on the marriage. Sit down, think together, talk together, resolve how to handle it. I tell you, that is possible. That marriage don't need to come to a divorce. It is my prayer that you that is watching me, that the Lord will give you grace, the Lord will give you understanding and the wisdom to remedy that marriage that are at the verge of collapse. For it is not the will of God that marriage will be destroyed. And before I go, I quickly say this to you. Please, I will not ask you money on this program, but I will ask you one thing. I will keep asking. Share this video with others that may need it. Share it to other platform that will be needful for you, that will bless life. And also go to YouTube, search for Marriage Discovery International, subscribe to our videos and watch and recommend it to someone. The Lord bless you. I love you. See you some other time.